Hi everyone, this is the Toe. We are live. We're going to be talking about the things you guys want to talk about. You guys, the viewers. We're going to be talking about Steel Toes. We're going to be talking about news, action news. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. Devilverse, non-Devilverse. I ate some cheese a couple of days ago, and we made the goal. We're going to be talking about the goal. So let me know what you guys want to talk about today on the Steel Toe AM FM radio show. Okay. We might be, like I said, we're going to be talking about the news, running the news. We're going to be making some eggs. Afraid of Vito can make eggs, and the Steel Toe, the Toe can make the eggs. I can do the eggs. And if you guys want to know about my court case, we can talk about that. We can talk about anything you guys want, anything your heart wants, we could talk about on the Steel Toe AM FM radio show. Hey Brandon, how you doing? Hey Mason, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Like I said, this is the Toe. We're gonna be talking about Steel Toes. We're gonna talk about the news. We're gonna run some news. We're gonna make some eggs in a few seconds here. And I appreciate you guys being here. Let's watch some news. Sorry about that.
Good evening, I'm Chip Moody, and coming up on Action News tonight, the State Department is ordering most U.S. citizens out of Pakistan as violent anti-Americanism spreads to that country. That computer error that set off a nuclear alert is prompting examination of local preparedness plans, and a second look at a suburban animal shelter where officials had promised to make some badly needed corrections. We'll cover all that and more next on Action News.
Good news.
Of all the lights of Christmas, few have the warmth, the brilliance of a Zales diamond. Zales is the world's largest Christmas jeweler, and every gift at Zales...
This is good news, guys, so we're going to watch the news.
There's a fire inside
with the Toe.
That brightens the life of everyone it touches.
Thanks, Brandon.
Touch someone you love with a gift from Zales and light up their Christmas.
It's good news with the Toe.
No one knows more than the diamond store.
You're on the air with the Toe, watching the news.
What makes a memory so special is that it happens only once, and then it's gone. But you can hold on to your memories vividly, beautifully with Fujifilm.
Fujifilm is good film. Not as good as Kodak, but it's good film.
Every day, around the world, 10 million memories are remembered on Fujifilm. Are your memories any less precious? Then next time,
go ahead and take this opportunity, hit the like button and hit subscribe so we make the goal.
Get Fujifilm, because a memory happens only once.
Do you want to take weight off and keep it off? These women did.
These are good commercials. I'm going to get the eggs ready. We're going to make the eggs.
The Prolamine diet plan.
I lost all the weight that I wanted to lose.
Pretty sure this is outlawed nowadays, Prolamine.
With Prolamine, if I start eating too much or if I gain a pound or two, I'll take Prolamine for a few days until I get back to my normal weight.
Prolamine capsules help control your appetite.
After I took a Prolamine capsule, I didn't feel hungry anymore. Occasionally, I do overeat.
Pretty sure it's outlawed.
And
hey, Peter, Fujifilm was Kodak's competitor back in the old days.
I go back on the Prolamine plan, and I keep my weight down.
Take weight off and keep it off with Prolamine.
And we are live with the Toe.
From KXAS TV, this is Channel 5 Action News.
I hear you, Peter. Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. The fuse continues to burn in the Middle East, and the fuse is getting short. Secretary of State Cyrus Vance tonight is ordering American dependents and all non-essential employees in Pakistan to leave the country. That move in the wake of today's attack on the U.S. Embassy and the consulates in Pakistan. That attack was carried out by thousands of screaming Muslims who set the embassy on fire after a battle that killed one U.S. Marine and one demonstrator.
It's sad to hear.
Douglas Kiker has
I'm
more.
going to make the eggs in the
A huge
background.
mob armed with rifles and shotguns and screaming, "Kill the American dogs," stormed the U.S. Embassy compound in Islamabad and set parts of it afire. It was mid-afternoon in Pakistan, early morning in Washington. A small contingent of Marine Guards took up defensive positions on the embassy rooftop. One of Marine Corporal Stephen Crowley, age 20, of Port Jefferson Station, New York, was killed. 2 other Americans reportedly. The Americans inside, 110 of them, took refuge on the top floor inside a big security vault with a steel reinforced door and an escape hatch in the ceiling. The siege lasted 6 hours until Pakistani soldiers came to the rescue about 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The Americans were taken to the British embassy by helicopter. President Carter was awakened at 4 o'clock this morning and told of the attack. He immediately asked leaders of other Muslim nations for increased security at American embassies. Douglas Kiker, NBC News, Washington.
This is what the embassy at Islamabad looked like before the attack. As with
Tell
all
me
embassies, the primary defense is local police and soldiers. And after that,
America.
a small complement of Marines
the toe.
is charged with protecting
They're lying,
embassy
cheating,
personnel
having
and
joke.
equipment. Tonight, a lot
Oh, look at that old car. All right.
of people and some congressmen are seriously questioning just how effective that defense procedure is. The Pakistani attack was caused by erroneous radio reports that Americans were involved in the takeover of the Grand Mosque in Mecca, Saudi Arabia. In Iran, today saw the
Here we go. Keep your eyes on Iran.
biggest demonstration yet in front of the still occupied embassy there. More than 1 million persons marched through the streets shouting, "Death to the Shah, death to Carter." Militant Muslim students today vowed to kill the 49 American hostages if the U.S. launches a military attack
Live
against
with the
Iran.
Joe.
Their demand remains the same:
Nobody questions
return
the
the
Joe.
Shah to stand trial. Now, sources are telling the White House that the hostages are being
We're going to be making some eggs too, not just the news. Doing the eggs, making the eggs, watching the news. What better broadcasting. I think we can agree immediately that the toe is number 1 in the Daleverse.
subjected to harsh methods of brainwashing. The militants reportedly are keeping some of the hostages tied up 24 hours a day and are forcing them to remain seated without the opportunity for exercise. At the Pentagon in Washington, top officials are considering different military operations just in case the hostages are hurt or killed. So far, the U.S. aircraft carrier Midway is standing by in the Arabian Sea, and the Kitty Hawk is moving in with reinforcements. Ford Rowan tells us what military alternatives are now under consideration.
The use of American ground troops is the least likely because of the danger of casualties. A naval blockade is possible, but has a big drawback. It would involve stopping the oil tankers and merchant shipping of friendly nations. The most likely option, if retaliation is ordered, would be airstrikes against Iranian air bases where American-built jets are stored. Other potential targets include oil loading facilities and oil fields, but this would put an energy squeeze on the Western world. Ford Rowan, NBC News at the Pentagon.
And tonight at the Grand Mosque in the holy city of Mecca, Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabian troops are in overall control. But Muslim gunmen hold positions in the minarets and still hold some hostages. Last night, several hundred armed religious deviants stormed inside and swarmed through the holy temple, shooting resistors and creating general havoc. Apparently, the gunmen are tribal soldiers who think their leader is the new Messiah, and they want the world to know it. 12 days ago, just as the magnitude of the crisis in Iran became apparent, computers inside the North American Air Defense Command in Colorado signaled that the Russians had launched a surprise nuclear attack. It was all a mistake, of course. A practice alert had been mistaken for the real thing. But what if it had been the real thing? What chance of survival do any of us have in case of nuclear attack? Channel 5's Pat Couch asked that question today.
This handbook may be the key to survival for 1.5 million people in Dallas County. It's the Dallas County Crisis Relocation Program, which the president would put into effect in case of a potential nuclear attack.
This meant that the risk areas, the target areas, would start implementing this relocation plan for their area. At the same time, the host areas, these are the rural counties who are supposed to take the population from these dense population risk areas, they would be preparing to receive these people.
Tarrant County would use a similar evacuation plan, assuming, of course, that civil defense officials received the anticipated 3-day warning prior to a nuclear.
What I missed, we got the eggs going. Hope everyone's having a good day here. Live with the toe.
Blast. Authorities say it's very unlikely the U.S. would be the victim of a surprise attack, but it could happen. In that case, there would be a 5 to 30-minute warning for people to get into fallout shelters, either public or private. There are enough shelters in Dallas to provide fallout protection for 1.5 million people. The basement of Dallas City Hall is one of those shelters, but fallout protection is about all the shelters would provide.
This was the Cold War still, 1979, right?
Since in the 50s, the federal government stocked these shelters. And since that time, the shelf life of the food has passed. That is no longer in there. The water cans are all corroding. There's very little water in there. The medical kits, much of the drugs and everything are past their shelf life. So basically, at this time, we have
Steel Toe watching the news here. What are we making eggs too?
very little provisions in these community shelters.
So as it stands now, the government's mass evacuation plan is the best method, perhaps the only chance of survival in the case of a nuclear attack. Pat Couch, Channel 5 Action News, Dallas.
And coming next on Action News tonight, presidential politics in Houston. And we'll go back to the Balch Springs Animal Pound to see if officials there have corrected.
That's a cute cat. Okay.
A horrendous problem.
My orders say I'm not supposed to know where I'm taking this boat, so I don't. But one look at you and I know it's going to be hot.
With what? You're going to make you go. With the toe on AM/FM radio.
Robert Duvall, Martin Sheen, Apocalypse Now. Rated R.
Held over at the Village Promenade, Dallas. Cinema 4 Arlington.
Hit the like button. We got to make the goal.
Western Hills, Fort Worth.
Unfailingly accurate, the water-resistant electronic quartz Piaget, carved link by link, 125 grams of solid 18-karat gold. Piaget quartz, precision structure technology, created totally in Switzerland. The electronic quartz Piaget,
More toast in there.
achievement in the universe of time.
No has spoken.
Markets downtown, North Park, and Fort Worth.
No question the joke.
Another opening.
Another store.
Latest shoe stores for building more. A whole new way you can shop for shoes. Serve yourself and take the time to choose.
Come celebrate our grand opening and save 30% on specially selected styles like these at every store in town.
The crowd outside now knows where we live. Good shoes don't have to be expensive. It's time to open, unlock the doors for another opening of the Payless Shoe Store.
Last Friday, we aired a story about some deplorable conditions at the Balch Springs Dog Pound, and we don't use the word deplorable lightly. Today, reporter Bob Letter went back to the pound and found some changes had indeed been made, but at the cost of one individual's job.
This is how it looked last Friday. Dead animals all over the place, overcrowded conditions, and general filth. And this is how it looks now. Clean with plenty of food and water. The vet has been to the pound twice since we visited, following a 3-week absence, and animals that had been caged past their time have been humanely put to sleep. Instead of dumping the dead on the ground as before, a holding area is being built to store carcasses prior to removal to the city dump. When we visited the pound last week, Jimmy Morris was the only employee for a department that required 2 full-time people. Since then, 2 new employees have been hired, Vicki Smith and Joyce Stokesbury. But in the process, Jimmy Morris was fired.
They needed somebody down here to say they could do the job better.
You think there's some politics involved?
You guys look better.
Why?
You'll tell
City
them.
government, I have no idea. They're bringing it down on Mr. Turner, the city administrator. He's got nowhere to go. They got to bring it down on me. Get me out of here before he loses his job.
Morris's boss, City Administrator John Kerner, who works side by side with Morris to clean up the pound over the weekend, said Morris was fired for reasons other than our story.
Because of some judgmental decisions, some bad decisions that he had made, and especially when you're talking about animal life needs to be given the same respect and regard as human life up until that point when it's decided that they need to be taken care of in a humane manner.
Morris said he plans to take the case to court. He has been offered some other jobs, even another position with the city. And while he is being blamed in part for the mess at the pound last week, he can take a lot of credit for the cleanup. Bob Leonard, Channel 5 Action News, Gulf Springs.
Texan George Bush took his quest for the GOP presidential nomination to Houston today. And Channel 5's Karen Parfitt, traveling with the Bush campaign, says today's activities got off to a running start.
George Bush begins his days on the run. Today, his campaign schedule called for morning free time, a chance to jog 3 miles before giving us a tour of his Houston home, a treasure store of Chinese rugs and vases he collected while serving as the U.S. liaison to China. The rest of free time was busily spent making phone calls, meeting with his
The
staff.
only problem I got is I got to have the decks pretty well
Have the
cleared
eggs
at quarter
really
of
tough here.
10. Okay, which is
Oh,
not
I'm there.
long. So why not, whoever wants to do whatever it is, will do it and get it done.
Then on to a luncheon speech before 500 Houston architects and building contractors. He told them, as he tells all his crowds, his campaign is rolling now. He's still behind Reagan and Connally, but he's catching up. He'll work harder, do better than expected in the early primaries, then come to Texas as a winner. The former UN ambassador won a standing ovation as he outlined his economic strategy to stifle the growth of federal spending, to cut excessive...
What do we think so far? Detroit says, I sent Chad Zumock a lucky dice. He will need instructions on how to do it and how to yell. I hope he calls me. And that's great if you really did. If not, that's cool too. That's interesting because he said he would use the lucky dice when you see my videos. Let's get back to the news.
Excessive government regulation to stimulate investment with a $20 billion tax cut, half for taxpayers, the other half for business. And while he carefully skirted any direct criticism, Bush did sell a need for stronger defense, better intelligence, in almost the same breath as he denounced the crisis in Iran.
Absolute international anarchy out there. Total disregard for international law, dealing with international people like the Ayatollah, who has absolutely no concept of order, international order. And so I don't want to make things worse, but I do say that our policy must be based on commitment, keeping commitments and not vacillating.
Instead of going to another dinner, another handshaking session, tonight Bush is going home to relax over Thanksgiving. On Sunday, he'll head back east to begin working for the primaries, which will make or break his campaign. Karen Parfitt, Channel 5 Action News with the Bush campaign in Houston.
Dallas City Council members aren't wasting any time
Look,
setting the date
we
for
gotta
new
make the
municipal
goal.
elections. The Justice
Eat my
Department
eggs.
cleared the way on Monday by approving
Show you
the
guys my
city's
eggs real quick,
8-3
so
election
we got a lot
plan.
of viewers.
And today the council said voters will go to the polls January 19th to choose their new representatives. Only Councilwoman Lucy Patterson voted against the plan.
I don't think
She said an election date just 2 months away won't give minority
All right, that's
candidates
okay. We're
time to
gonna
get their
try the
campaigns
steel toe
underway.
again.
Dallas Council elections were supposed to be held last April, but they were put on hold by challenges to the city's districting plan. And coming up next, Harold Taft talks about some cold weather that's on the way.
Cold weather.
The thrill of an autumn day 16 years ago is remembered in a simple ceremony in Dallas.
Watching the news.
Symphony in concert at the Fort Worth National Bank.
Watching news with the toe. Good job. No, Detroit. Funny thing about that, I gave him my number a couple times, and on the show, the Z-Man said that he said, Chad, this is a true story. He said, Chad, stop giving me your phone number. I'm not going to call you. So I guess he does have it. He doesn't want to use it. That's his privilege. If he wants to call me, he can call me. And I got everyone else's phone number, but not his, which is fine. But that's what we're dealing with right now. That's where we're at. Z-Man. Okay, back to news. We're on the Toe Network here.
Mr. Riley, your ads are terrific.
Yeah, but there's something wrong.
Could be me.
My Yellow Pages ad?
Look, your other advertising
Yellow
moves customers
Pages.
down the field, but when they're ready to buy, they look for me.
So?
So your other ads work harder when you got me to close the sale. Selling is teamwork.
And a good Yellow Pages ad can help me score.
Kid, you got the point. Let the Yellow Pages do your talking.
The exciting 1980 Datsuns are arriving now at George Grubbs Datsun. To make room, we're selling many
Nice
79
Datsun.
210s, 510s, 810s, and 200 SXs at our cost plus $99. Yes, that's our cost plus $99. Come to George Grubbs Datsun in the mid-cities and see why we are the leader. Our selection is good. Our prices are great. That's Grubbs Datsun, 6 miles west of
You're with
DFW
the
on the
toe.
Airport Freeway in Bedford.
Tow Network.
Tomorrow marks the 16th anniversary of the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And today, the events of that day were remembered in a simple ceremony in Dallas.
Since November 22nd falls on Thanksgiving this year, the annual observance was held one day early, but it was still complete with the traditional words of remembrance.
We grieve the loss of a young and vibrant president whose brilliant leadership had inspired us all.
Each year on this occasion, there is the same difference of opinion. There are those who feel that Dallas should not encourage the memory of this dark moment in its history, and there are others who feel just as strongly that the occasion should not go by completely unnoticed. For whatever reason, a very small crowd showed up for the observance. That has been the trend in recent years, and many people simply passed by without giving it a second glance. There were a few differences this year, however. The event was better organized, with a more efficient sound system and music. And this year there was another difference, another Kennedy to talk about. Doug Adams, Channel 5 Action News, Dallas.
Well, of course, Turkey Day on deck. Friends, food, family, football, and a forecast.
And almost freeze.
Almost freeze.
Not quite, though, not quite. 50 degrees outside now, should go down about 35. Some places, of course, in the cities will get a little bit lower than that. And certainly off to the north, up through Wise County and Jack County and
50 degrees.
Off to the west and northwest, temperatures will be below freezing. But let's take a look right now at the weather. We plotted these reports. They came in at 10 o'clock tonight. Incidentally, on this date in 1970 and in 71, we had snow on this date. Not very much, but we had a little. 50 degrees, no snow tonight. 46 Mineral Wells, 35 degrees at Childress, 26 at Amarillo. Now remember now, up at Amarillo, though, they're getting the air blowing right down off of that ice field up there in Colorado and in western Kansas that we're not getting down a little further to south. 33 at Lubbock, 31 degrees out at El Paso. If you're driving tomorrow, you're going to go north all the way up to Wichita, Kansas, no snow. You'll start getting into the snow when you get to Kansas City. I'll show you that in a minute. In Texas, Amarillo, no snow. Lubbock, no snow. Midland, no snow. El Paso, none. Big Bend, none. Rain will be moving back in, I fear, along the coastal areas of South Texas. Not going to be a good time to go down there, but beside that, the seas are too high, 4 to 9 feet anyway. Let's look at the national weather map. Still snowing from Kansas on up across in a band up through Wisconsin and portions of Minnesota and in northwestern Iowa. Here's what I was telling you a moment ago. If you are driving north, there is no snow, none reported, has not been any, up as far as Wichita, Kansas, and then from there on up almost to Kansas City, and then
I like his map.
Northward, there will be some snow as you get up in toward Iowa. There's a lot of rain over in the eastern section, especially in through Louisiana, and that rain is going to be very slow moving out, primarily because the wind flow pattern in the upper levels is parallel to it. But let's look at tomorrow's forecast map. This is what we'll find. Snow will continue in Kansas, on up in across Minnesota and into Wisconsin. It will be ending in Colorado. But listen, Highway 287, 25, and 70 into Colorado are in bad shape. There are 18 to 24 inches of snow, 3-foot drifts. I don't know how long it'll take to get it cleared out, but it's going to take several days. Well, locally, we're not going to be too concerned. Right now, the sky is clear. The wind is out of the northwest and blowing with a speed of about 10 miles an hour. The barometer, 30 and 1100ths on the rise. Relative humidity, 46%, and the temperature right now, 49 degrees at this observation point. And our rainfall early this morning amounted to 20 hundredths of an inch. That's just about what most of our rain gauges show. Officially, though, it was only 7 100ths. High temperature was 73. The high this afternoon was only 65. And tomorrow, 35 in the morning, near 60 in the afternoon. I say mostly fair because I do think there'll be some cloudiness.
You're listening to Steel Toe AM/FM radio show.
And certainly in the southern part of the state and up as far as Waco, skies may even be overcast for a period of time. Generally for the weekend, for the Metroplex, mostly fair and a warming trend after Friday.
Okay. Generally very acceptable. Okay. Thank you, Harold. Well, tonight, Action News consumer reporter Linda Bryan continues her survey of this year's crop of Christmas toys. many of which warn the buyer batteries not included. So Linda's subject tonight is which battery to buy. Call her report ordinary. We dare you.
Not recommended for children under 3, ages 4 to 8. Recommended for children over 6. Toy makers spend many hours coming up with the age group for which a toy is best suited.
We take the toy and we test it among various ages of children to see what benefits each age range of child gets from the toy. We turn these recommendations back to our child psychologist, who then put the age range of the product on the toy.
Do you use the age recommendations that you see on the boxes of toys?
Most of the time. It just depends on the child. Some of them can, achieve more with the older type, and some of them it takes the younger toys.
Have you found them to be reliable? Do they fit the age that they're recommending?
No.
Hey, Hank, how you doing?
And toy stores find this problem to be one of their biggest
How you doing, Hank?
frustrations. For them, when you buy toys
Live with the Toe. I'm Steel Toe. This is my AM FM radio station.
which are designed for older children, it means returns, something they'd like to avoid.
This one is so programmed that they would have to read the book. So if somebody came in and bought it for the 6 or 7-year-old, they wouldn't be able to read the instructions of how to work it, how to program it. They would learn gradually probably, but it would take...
Joe DeSuppo, how you doing? It's great to see you. I'm Steel Toe. Couch, how you doing? Nobody questions Steel Toe. I appreciate you being here, Joe. It's not just a shoe, it is a steel toe.
A while, but I'm afraid it would throw a little one. Plus, it might even throw some of the older ones that don't have the time or don't want to take the time to read it. Then you've got a worthless, expensive toy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Hollywood Henderson. That's right, Hollywood Henderson talks about tomorrow's big game between the Cowboys and the Oilers. Jim Brinson standing by with sports, so stay with us.
Target proudly presents the grand opening sale at its new Ridgemar store. Now's the time to save on hundreds of things at Target. Like a 7-ounce tube of Crest toothpaste, regular or mint flavored, now just 73 cents.
Good deal.
Packages of Kleenex paper towels are grand opening sale price at just $1.
Those are good. Those are good deals.
Pennzoil motor oil now only 59 cents a quart. All Dallas and Fort Worth Target stores are celebrating the grand opening sale at Target.
Will you look at my kid brother? Open up and taste the moment.
Hey, Jones, how you doing?
This time, the best is just what you deserve. Now it's time for Erlanger. Erlanger from Joseph Schlitz. Beer born of Cloggis barley and Hallertau hops. More expensive than most.
Yeah,
and
like
only
it.
in bottles. When you want to fill your life up to the very brim, come and taste the moment, Erlanger.
Dallas Cowboys Weekly. We give you the players.
Oh, yeah, that's good, Joe. I wear them to work, too, sometimes.
The cheerleaders and the personalities. We show you what's happening off the field as well as on. Join us every week for Dallas Cowboys Weekly. It's not just another football show.
Dallas Cowboys Weekly, Friday at 6:30 on Channel 5.
Okay, we'll have the report card on the batteries on the shoulder and all that a little bit later on.
I dare you to knock that one off.
Right. Okay, Hollywood Henderson was here with us live today.
He was. It was nice of him to stop by. Of course, he is no longer a Cowboy, and Wade Manning, the rookie out of Ohio State, has been placed back on the Cowboys' active roster, replacing Henderson. Tomorrow, the Cowboys and Oilers at Texas Stadium, and as Chip mentioned, Thomas Henderson on our early 6 o'clock sports
We're live with Steel
he
Toe.
said he thought the Cowboys would not be the same club without him, and he believes they will lose to Houston.
Well, without Hollywood Henderson, it's going to be difficult. Just emotionally, I think, and just as a contributing factor, I think that I was a part of the winning tradition of the Dallas Cowboys. So in my thinking, without me, it's going to be hard throughout the whole year.
By the way, Henderson will be on the Tomorrow Show tonight. He will be on the Charlie Rose Show here on Channel 5 at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. In the meantime, the Oilers believe they're the best team in Texas. In fact, word from Houston tonight has all of the television and radio sportscasters picking.
Great to see you, Mark.
the Oilers by 10 points over Dallas. But the players are more cautious, evidenced by Ken Burrow.
This is the way we're going to look at it, as another game in the National Football League, because normally we don't play Dallas during the regular season. So now we are playing them during the regular season, and it is a special day, which is Thanksgiving. So basically everybody in the world will be watching, but that's not the most important thing. The most important thing that we play the type of ball that we can play. Regardless of whether it's the Dallas Cowboys or anybody else, Thanksgiving or anything else, we'll play that type of football. So we'll go there full steam.
By the way, Channel 5 will carry the Oilers and Cowboys tomorrow afternoon, and I'll be at Texas Stadium at 2 o'clock for a live half-hour report on the contest.
Definitely true, Mark. Grip and Pete are definitely due, when your schedule permits, to do another debate.
Test. In baseball, California Angels outfielder designated hitter Don Baylor has been named the American League's most valuable player. In Central Hockey League action, Tulsa beat Fort Worth this evening 4-3, while it was Oklahoma City knocking off Dallas 7-4. And tonight, we have a special report on a hockey player who is very well traveled, Ernie Hickey of the Dallas Blackhawks.
Coach.
Ernie Hickey is 32 years old. He's played for 10 professional hockey teams in the last 12 years. He's a good hockey player, good enough to have spent parts of 5 seasons in the National Hockey League. But most of his hockey life has been on the move, and that has taken its toll, especially on a young family man.
A player really doesn't know where he's going to be until training camp is over, so it's tough on the family, especially if you have kids in school. But I've enjoyed it. If I had to do it all over again, I would do it again.
Hockey is a sport that's ingrained in the minds of young Canadian boys from just about the time they can walk, or in this case, skate. And even with all the hardships, it's a very difficult thing to ever give up.
We grew up with it since we're 3, 4 years old back in Canada. I don't know, all these young guys, they just drive me crazy. I just try and be one of them, you know. As I mentioned before, if you play 13, 14, 15 years, you got to love the game, that's for sure.
Ernie Hickey now plays hockey 1 year at a time, and next year could mean another move. And you wonder why he does it. Well, he's got the best reason of all.
You got to love the game, that's for sure.
Steve Harbs, Channel 5 Action News, Dallas.
Good story. College basketball tonight. Texas Wesleyan beat Tarleton State 73-66.
Okay, thank you very much, Jim. All right. Trouble for a Thanksgiving tradition.
It's so live.
Yeah, we'll have that story and more coming next.
Chevy's National Economy Drive is on.
Chevy's got the drive. Chevy's got it.
Come get this free booklet on fuel-saving tips and take a special test drive that lets you see how good driving skills can improve your gas mileage to help you go farther on less.
Chevy's got the drive. Come and get it.
Come see for yourself the mileage and value in the new Chevrolet Caprice, Chevy Malibu, Dutch Chevy pickups, and all the new Chevrolet.
Take the economy test drive at Century, Hudaberg, Jack Williams, Vandergriff, and Bruce Lowry Chevrolet.
2 final notes on the Iranian crisis, dateline to California. The Los Angeles City Council has officially voted to suspend its sister city relationship with Tehran in what one councilman called a very small protest against what's going on over there. And the Los Angeles police chief says his department's SWAT team could free the hostages if only the Air Force would fly them into Iran. Chief Daryl Gates says the Special Weapons and Tactics team has been involved in 400 incidents since being formed.
Very interesting news.
In 1967.
We're watching Steel Toe in the afternoon.
And that they have never lost a hostage. And finally tonight, if, like a lot of Americans, the events of the past few days leave you with a rather queasy feeling in your stomach, here's some more bad news. The Food and Drug Administration says it is recalling more than $200,000 of Pepto-Bismol because they may contain an extra ingredient not too soothing to upset stomachs, and that's broken glass. The FDA blames the problem on a defective bottle mold. The agency says you can check for the problem by soaking off the label and looking for a bubble under the glass, or you can check with your druggist for the exact code numbers included in the recall. So be warned about that as you finish up turkey tomorrow. For Harold, Jim, and all of us at Channel 5, thank you, good night, and see you tomorrow.
In the early 1900s, the toys kids wanted most for Christmas were a piggy bank and a Lionel train. In the 30s, kids' 2 favorites were tin soldiers and a Lionel train. By the 50s, it was coonskin caps and a Lionel. Every Christmas, kids have their favorite toys.
Midnight Flyer.
And every
Who's with
Christmas,
the toe?
one of them is a
It's
Lionel.
live.
Why just give a toy when you can give a tradition?
I am the toe.
Lionel.
This is Pioneer's best-selling KP8005 Super Tuner in-dash AM/FM stereo with
Thank
cassette.
you. I
You can
can't
pay as
pronounce
much
your
as
name.
$249.95 during Customized price-smashing nationwide marathon
Thank you very much. We're almost done with the news here.
sale.
Then we'll wrap up. Thank you very much, Mr. Whatnot. Okay.
Yours for $149.95. A giant $100 savings. Customify guarantees you the
Yes,
lowest price.
we are live and doing it.
We'll refund the difference plus another 25%. Customify. Open around the clock for 54 marathon sale hours. 6 p.m. Thanksgiving Day to midnight Saturday. There'll never be another time to save like this.
At Tom Thumb Page, we have over 3,000 people trying to make sure you'll be glad you shopped with us.
Will there be anything else? Hi there, how are you
Live
today?
with the
You find
toe.
everything you need? You only want 2 steaks in that package? Sure, I'll be happy to fix it for you.
Fresh from the oven. I know you'll like it.
We'll order that for you today.
Would you like some help with that?
Thank you. Have a nice day.
And we mean it. Besides, at Tom Thumb Page, we stand behind everything we sell, and that's a promise.
Thank you very much, and I'll come back.
A pregame sports special Thursday.
All right, that's it. I think this is where we're going to say goodbye. I want to thank everyone for joining. I want to thank everyone for liking and subscribing, watching the toe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now. See you, Mark and Joe and everyone. Thank you, Mr. Whatnot.